So the Trump campaign had requested more Secret Service over and over and over, and they had been denied over and over and over. And when they were denied, the story that they were given was that there had not been proof provided that there was any increased threat to Donald Trump's life. So why would they need to allocate more resources there, right? That's their story. You guys have heard them say that 1,000 times, right? Well, how can that be true and this be true at the same time? How can both things be true at the same time? FBI informed the U.S. Secret Service about an Iranian plot to assassinate former President Trump, saying that it's likely law enforcement agencies are going to see much more brazenness from Iran in the future. You need to get your stories straight. Well, again, they're just making my life so easy because the FBI Director Christopher Wray was on Capitol Hill to testify yesterday, and he made some unbelievable statements where you look at that and you're like, did he really say that? Does he have any evidence to support what he said right there? And I'm sure that I will have titled the video something along the lines of FBI director says it wasn't a bullet that hit Trump. Okay. The audacity of these people to just completely betray which side they're on. You're like, dude, you're supposed to be an independent of political party organization. We're supposed to be able to trust the FBI. What are you talking about with a thing like that? And so I'm going to show you the video of him straight up being like, no, we can't decisively say that it was a bullet that hit Trump. You mean even though everyone in the world saw a bullet hit Trump, that wasn't decisive enough for you? You're doing an investigation, right? What is an easier way to investigate something than to look at a video of said incident that 100% of people have seen and just go, yeah, that's what happened. You know what I mean? So we're going to look at that, and then we're going to look at this. All right. So this is the article, the takeaways from FBI testimony, Trump shooter search, yada, yada. And there are some things. As a matter of fact, we're going to start with this. Okay. We're going to start with this because I don't want people to miss this part because there are some things that are so ridiculous and egregious on here that I don't want anybody to just see the part about him being like, oh, I don't know if it's a bullet, and skip this part because it's crazy. This stuff is crazy to me. Now, should I do this mad Jesse on Fire or funny Jesse on Fire? I'm going to try to do funny as long as I can because that makes it much less likely that I'll say something that makes me have to go edit. I don't want to edit. I need to just try to do this. All right. So if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, I would appreciate it if you would do that. But, listen, dude, this is we're seeing a lot of momentum on the channel, and I am very grateful for that. So jump on a fast moving ship if you like. And if you don't mind liking this video, that would be awesome. I'll tell you what, actually. You can like the video if you think the FBI is not necessarily trustworthy of doing an impartial job investigating and subsequently sharing information with the public when it comes to, Donald Trump. All right, so let's jump into this thing. I'm just literally, this article is titled The Takeaways from the FBI Testimony, Trump Shooters Search Details of JFK Assassination Flew Drone Near the Rally Site. All right, so the stuff that really got to me when I looked at it was where the senators who were doing the questioning started using this moment to bring us back to the most cheap attacks ever. As you would expect from, Schiff and these really rock solid felony convictions that Donald Trump had that everybody looks at and they're all, yeah, you're right. He's a convicted felon. There's definitely nothing political about this, that kind of stuff. But we also are going to look at just an egregious level of incompetence. And then we'll look at the bullet thing because a bullet definitely did not hit Donald Trump's ear. It's so ridiculous. So we talked about this yesterday. The shooter looked up information on the JFK assassination. And one of the things that I want to just keep on coming back to is do we believe this to be true, or does this sound like something that would just kind of push everyone hey, listen, man, this was a lone shooter. There's nothing else behind it. This guy's a lone crazy gunman. But here's the other thing, and I want to make this really, really clear. He also talks about some other things that I was looking at, and I'm like, listen, dude, just because in this one area it's hard to trust what they say, you also don't want to discount other things they say. They are the FBI, okay? They are going to have information that we do not have. And it comes back to risk associated with being other public figures. And then you have this other deep state thing with Iran where I'm like, I'm having a real tough time with this Iran is going to assassinate Trump thing, but they're still trying to push that. So, shooter looked up information on JFK assassination. According to the FBI's analysis of Crook's laptop, Crook searched for how far Lee Harvey Oswald was when he shot and killed Kennedy in 1963. Did I say 68 last night? That's embarrassing. But listen, like, okay, so on July 6th, he did a Google search. How far away was Oswald from Kennedy? Okay. I mean, maybe, maybe. Seems a little bit convenient to me, a little bit on the nose, right? And he says, that's a search that's obviously significant in terms of his state of mind. That is the same day that it appears he registered for the Butler rally. And I'm like, it's just very on the nose, kind of like the 9/11 thing where they're like, well, how do we know it's these hijackers? Well, we found their passports on the ground. And you're like, you found their passports on the ground? Oh, yeah. We found the hijackers' passports on the ground. And you're like, well, I've seen a video of the plane becoming a fireball all at once. How could a passport survive the video that I've seen? Plane going like this, woo, and then jet fuel explosion. Okay? Like incineration of everything inside. Like you're telling me that the passport somehow got ejected from that explosion and just, calmly circled down, and then landed on the ground, right? And then the towers imploded on themselves and the whole entire place got covered with how many tons of, like destroyed cement and melted steel, right, on top of itself. But somehow the passport survived that. You're like, dude, guys, okay, I'm not even necessarily saying that those weren't the hijackers. I'm not even necessarily saying that. I'm just saying, do you really expect me to believe that the passports survived that and then you just found them? Like, that's not a believable story, okay? If you have some kinds of sources and methods of how you identified the hijackers and you're like, okay, we need a story that we can tell that, American people that we don't have to reveal how we actually know is them, just say that. You know what I mean? Like, just say that. If it's like 2001 and, we haven't revealed that we have like facial recognition biometrics and you don't want to say that, then just say, we have ways of identifying that are not public. It's top secret information, but we know it's them. Okay? Because at least then you're like, all right, I can have faith in the government that they're telling me the truth. But when you tell me a story about the passports surviving all of that, it's like, that's ludicrous. Like, now you're making me question this entire story, and maybe we should be questioning it. I don't know. But again, this is kind of how that feels. How far away was Oswald from Kennedy? Okay. The shooter flew a drone just 2 hours before Trump took the stage. Okay. So again, peak time of let's make sure that this place is safe. You got some kid who looks like a person who, obviously they thought he was a threat because they took pictures. Everybody's taking pictures of him like, this guy's suspicious. Hey, what makes him suspicious? Like, the AR-15, the rangefinder, flying a drone around, And they're saying that the drone was in the air for 11 minutes, and investigators believe Crooks watched a live feed from the drone on his phone. Okay, and then the drone was found in his car following the shooting. And then he had 2 explosives in the car at the time of the shooting and 1 in his home, but likely did not have the ability to detonate them from the roof. Why? Okay, why? It looks like because of the on-off position of the receivers, that if he had tried to detonate those devices from the roof, it wouldn't have worked. Okay, so I don't understand. This is another one of those things where, and I'm not saying this is not true. Okay, this part. Like, maybe he had explosives, but like, what? Why? What's the point? Like, what's his point? What's the point of having explosives? Like, I don't understand. I really don't. So what, like, he shoots the president and he's like, boop, boom. My car went boom, boom. And I did that because my passport was in there and I wanted to make sure no one could identify my passport, because everyone knows that if you have an explosion of a vehicle with a passport in there, it's not going to make it, except at 9/11. So I just don't really understand what the I just don't understand. And they said that the investigators have been able to reverse engineer the flight path of the drone from the day of the rally. I would assume that's probably from his phone. If this is true, would have shown the shooter what would have been behind him. It was almost like giving him a rear view mirror of the scene behind him. So again, are you saying, like, was the drone in the air at the time that he was in a prone position trying to shoot the president? Is that how he knew the police officer was going up the ladder? Is that what we're saying? Like, tie this together and make it make sense. Do you know what I mean? Or is it just senators don't know what questions to ask? Okay? Like, take the information that we have and ask the questions to make this either make sense or not make sense. What are you saying he was doing with the drone? Okay? So he had a drone flying around. Okay, we've established incompetent Secret Service, unit. Like, this place, incompetent. We've established that. All right? So what exactly are you saying? Like, what are you saying? What was he doing with it? Was it up at the time? Anyway, gun had a collapsible stock and was purchased from shooter's father. Who cares? Okay. Climb the roof. This is a good one. The FBI thinks crooks used equipment and piping attached to the building to climb onto the roof where he shot at Trump. He shot Trump. I know the FBI is claiming they don't know that, but shot Trump, We now believe the subject climbed onto the roof using some mechanical equipment on the ground and vertical piping on the side of the AGR building. In other words, we do not believe he used a ladder to get up there. Dude, there are like 1,000 witnesses. What are you talking about, dude? Okay? And when we get to like where we show the FBI, like the actual testimony, he gives an answer to a question that is such an overt lie that it is insane. Like, there is no possible chance that you're not lying. Like, it's a stone-faced lie. And we'll get to that shortly. The FBI, according to Wray, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so like how he was on the roof for roughly 3 minutes before he fired at Trump. That's an eternity. Okay, and people were yelling about it that whole time. Here we go. Republicans use hearing to challenge Harris, which is funny because what they did is they asked Christopher Wray how many times that Kamala had been in meetings with him about the border. So how many times had the border czar been in meetings with you guys about the border? So he said that whether she, Harris, had specifically asked for a meeting about the threats that are at the border, like hypothetically, if I don't know, take 9/11 as an example. Let's say that there were other terrorists who wanted to get into the country and then potentially, do another massive terror attack, like the most obvious threat to the nation that there is. I interviewed Edward Byers yesterday. Okay. And I think what I'm going to do with that is I'm actually going to take like segments from his interview and I'm going to put it in many of my videos because Edward Byers is the SEAL Team 6 Master Chief. Okay. So like the Master Chief of SEAL Team 6, Congressional Medal of Honor recipient, one of the most impressive people like ever. And I talked to him about this entire situation. His video feed was a little bit messed up, so I'm trying to figure out exactly how I want to manage that as I edit it. But he talked about that as it relates to the border, where he was like, I don't understand. Like that how would, as a matter of fact, if I remember, I'm going to put that part into this video because he says it better than I do. Anyway, the shooter was searching for news stories. Shooter appears to have done a lot of searches of public figures in general, but so far we are seeing kind of news articles and things like that. Images that have been, okay, bottom line, this is the part that I'm talking about. He says FBI director cautioned that the effort to uncover Crook's motive is ongoing, but warned it is quite frankly a dangerous time to be a prominent public official. I don't doubt that at all. But, where we do go on about that and say where the threat is coming from, which you can see it down towards the bottom of this page, I have questions about that, right? Because we know the deep state wants to go to war with Iran. We know that. I know that. You guys know that, right? You really think Iran is going to take a shot at Trump and absolutely guarantee that we're going to go in there and dismantle their government? Okay. So employee under internal investigation for post about shooting. So Wray said Wednesday that an FBI employee is being internally investigated for posting something totally inappropriate about the Trump assassination attempt. Chip Roy asked the director whether any FBI agents texted, emailed, or expressed disappointment that Trump survived the assassination attempt or otherwise editorialized about the assassination attempt. Wray said he wasn't aware of any agents acting inappropriately, but that there had been one instance of an individual who posted something that I consider outrageous, totally inappropriate, and unacceptable. That individual has been referred to our inspection division, which is our sort of internal affairs investigatory arm that does the disciplinary process. And he did not say where the post was made. Okay, well, what did he say, though? Which side is, was he, what did he say? Now, Wray expects more threats from Iran. Again, I just want everyone to take this with a grain of salt because we know which direction, the deep state wants to go. They want war. Like, these guys want war, son, and they want war specifically with Iran. I am not going to pretend like I understand global politics because I don't. But we know that that's the case. We also know that Trump knocked down, General Soleimani, and if there is anybody that they want, it's Trump. But he said, Wray said that the FBI informed the U.S. Secret Service about an Iranian plot to assassinate former President Trump, and saying that it's likely law enforcement agencies are going to see much more brazenness from Iran in the future. Now, here's my question, and this is a very important question, okay? So the Trump campaign had requested more Secret Service over and over and over, and they had been denied over and over and over. And when they were denied, the story that they were given was that there had not been proof provided that there was any increased threat to Donald Trump's life. So why would they need to allocate more resources there, right? That's their story. You guys have heard them say that 1,000 times, right? Well, how can that be true and this be true at the same time? How can both things be true at the same time? FBI informed the U.S. Secret Service about an Iranian plot to assassinate former President Trump, saying that it's likely law enforcement agencies are going to see much more brazenness from Iran in the future. Weird. Seems like you guys are contradicting you. Like you need to get your stories straight. He went on to say that he thinks that we need to recognize the brazenness of the Iranian regime, including right here in the United States. And I expect that we're going to see more of it. And I expect there will be more coming on that. Listen, if Iran really does attack the United States in any way after any of us, they deserve exactly what they get. But again, it being the first that we're hearing about it in relation to this particular story is a tough one, But here we go. So Schiff in a swipe at Trump's felony conviction praises the FBI's ban on hiring felons, really taking the time to, go after the really important stuff. So Democratic Representative Adam Schiff pressed Wray on the agency's hiring standards in an effort to criticize Republican Party's decision to make Trump a convicted felon its 2024 presidential nominee. Unbelievable. Do candidates for the FBI have to go through background checks? Would someone with dozens of felony convictions survive a background check? Wray said no. And he said, so they would never be hired by the Bureau? No, Wray said again. Clearly, the Bureau has higher standards for hiring than one of the American great political parties. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, Trump was convicted earlier this year of 34 felony counts of falsifying business records as part of the hush money scheme. So again, what exactly did he do? His attorney came to him and was like, hey, we're going to pay Stormy Daniels some money so she won't go public with the story about your affair. I'll take care of it, and then I'll bill you for it. Trump says, okay, they do that, and then it's 34 felony convictions, okay? Nothing political about that. Give me a break, okay? And now we're going to wrap up with Christopher Wray saying that it may not have been a bullet that hit Trump. Hilarious, okay? And why is this important? Because if a bullet didn't hit Trump, if a bullet hits Trump, it's much more presidential because, it's just, give me a break, dude, okay? The same as MSNBC and CNN being like, did a bullet really hit Trump? From the FBI director when it's on video. Let's watch.
I guess I'm not clear exactly where you said there were 8 shell casings on the roof, so 8 bullets were fired. We obviously know that Mr. Comparatori lost his life. Two other rally goers were injured, seriously injured, and then the one that hit President Trump. Does that account for, were some of these individuals hit multiple times? Where did all 8 bullets go is, I guess, my question.
I don't have that in front of me. I'm happy to circle back and get that to you. It's assuming we have that information yet.
Outright lie. Does anyone believe that the director of the FBI does not know where those bullets, the 8 shots from the shooter, went? Like, does anybody believe that? That he doesn't know, okay? Now, again, I have no idea what it entails to be the director of the FBI, so maybe there's some reason for him to want to suppress that information. I can't imagine what it possibly would be and have it be like on the up and up, but you are not going to convince me that he does not know where every single one of those shots went. And I mean, it's just ridiculous. If you told me that one time, it would be committed to memory for life. You tell me he hasn't been briefed on that, the director of the FBI?
As I said, I think with respect to former President Trump, there's some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel that that hit his ear. So it's conceivable. Although, as I sit here right now, I don't know whether that bullet, in addition to causing the grazing, could have also landed somewhere else. But I believe
okay, so there it's either a grazing or shrapnel. Okay, what would have gotten hit that would have caused shrapnel to hit him and not a bullet? So riddle me that, you guys. Like, what are you talking about? We saw on video, bang, Trump goes like this, and then he dives down, blood. He got shot in the ear. Everyone saw it. Okay? If it would have hit the teleprompter or whatever else they're talking about, which doesn't make any sense because a teleprompter would have been directly in front of him, right? Here's the way he's facing. He turns this way, right? I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's a teleprompter over there, but not either way. You'd hear a teleprompter get hit and blow up. He got shot, obviously. Why are you pretending like you don't know that? I think we all know.
I believe we've accounted for all of the shots in the cartridges, so let us get that.
It's my understanding that the very first one was the one that hit the president. Is that the very first shot, or is that not accurate?
I don't, as I sit here right now, I don't know the answer to that. I believe we know the answer to that. I just don't have it in front of me.
You don't know. The director of the FBI doesn't know whether the first shot hit Trump or not. Yeah, right. Does anyone believe that? If you believe that.
Okay. Is there any chance I mean, it seems to me that this bad guy, this shooter, was focused on President Trump. But you indicated that he purchased 50 rounds of ammunition, I believe, earlier that day. Do you have any indications thus far in your investigation that in addition to going after and trying to assassinate the former president, he was also looking to do a lot more damage to other individuals?
Dumb question. Okay. Do you buy bullets one at a time? Jim Jeffries, come on. You know they come in boxes of 50. Like, 50 is not a lot of rounds to purchase all at once. They come in a box of 50, right? I mean, and every once in a while, with AR or 223 or 556, you might be able to find a box of 20, 25, whatever. But like a box of 50 is standard procedure. That's a dumb question.
That's a hard question to answer. What I would say is I agree with you that.
Well, you said that he has explosives in his car and in his home, but because that's true, right? So I guess that would answer partially.
His preparatory activity is what we've seen so far, the limited information that has been relevant and interesting about his preparatory activity does seem to be that he had settled on former President Trump as a target and this rally as his moment to try to take a shot. But in addition to the 50 rounds, of course, you have the issue of these explosive devices.
There we go.
Right. And so what else he may have had in mind is something that I think is very much of an open question.
So hang on. He thought that he was going to get those shots off and then just leave. Bang, 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 kill the president. And then in front of 1,000 people, just hop on down the roof and then just move right along to phase 2, which is going to be boom, boom, boom. Those are explosions, not gunshots. Ridiculous. I don't believe any of it. I just can't. Anyway, so that's what we got for this video. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, and let me know if you think that this is a legit story.